Imagine you're caught in a heated debate. The stakes are high and emotions are running wild. You've been there before, haven't you? Then let us see the 8 psychological tricks to master the art of winning arguments. Welcome to the Psychology and Physical Training channel. The heat of the argument, the energy of the room prickles with tension. Words are wielded like weapons, and winning seems like the only way out. Perhaps it's in the boardroom, with a high-stakes project on the line. Or maybe it's at the family dinner table, where a casual conversation has spiraled into a full-blown argument. You can almost feel the weight of each spoken word, the intensity of every rebuke, the pressure to stand your ground and defend your point of view. And yet, in the midst of this verbal battlefield, there's a nagging question that lingers at the back of your mind. Is there a better way to navigate this? A way to sway the tide of the argument in your favor without resorting to brute force or manipulation? But what if there was a better way to navigate these situations and come out on top? The first trick is understanding the confirmation bias. This psychological phenomenon refers to our brain's tendency to seek out and interpret information in a way that confirms our pre-existing beliefs or hypotheses. It's like our minds are hardwired to say, "I knew it," even when presented with evidence to the contrary. In the heat of an argument, this bias can make us selectively listen, filtering out opposing viewpoints and latching onto anything that supports our stance. It's a mental pitfall we all fall into, but being aware of it is half the battle. Now, how do we use this to our advantage in an argument? First, recognize this bias in yourself. Keep an open mind and listen actively to the other person. Then, acknowledge this bias in your opponent. Frame your arguments in a way that aligns with their existing beliefs. By recognizing these biases, you pave the way for more productive discussions. Next, acknowledge the need to feel right. It's human nature to want to be right. This desire fuels our arguments and can sometimes cloud our judgment. But winning an argument isn't just about proving your point. It's about understanding, empathizing, and respecting the other person's viewpoint too. Psychologically, we often equate being right with feeling good and being wrong with feeling bad. This can lead us to defend our positions fiercely, even when confronted with evidence to the contrary. But it's crucial to remember that everyone has their own unique perspective shaped by their experiences, beliefs, and values. Instead of insisting on being right, aim to foster understanding. Listen actively, ask questions, and show empathy. This approach not only helps diffuse tension, but also encourages open dialogue. It's through this dialogue that you can gently guide the conversation towards your viewpoint. Remember, winning an argument isn't about proving the other person wrong, but reaching a mutual understanding. Now let's discuss the power of framing. This is a psychological trick that can truly tip the scales in your favor during an argument. Framing is all about presenting your points in a manner that resonates with your opponent's values and beliefs. It's about aligning their perspective with your argument, making your point not just a statement, but a reflection of their own values. Consider this. If you're debating the importance of a product, instead of focusing solely on its functionality, frame your argument around the safety it provides. This way, you're not just selling a product, you're selling peace of mind. Or, if you're trying to persuade someone to take a risk, don't just highlight the potential losses. Instead, underscore the gains they stand to achieve. Remember, it's not only about what you say, but how you say it. Framing can be the key to unlocking a stubborn mindset. The fourth trick is anchoring. Now, what is anchoring? It's a psychological phenomenon where the first piece of information we encounter about a subject becomes the anchor. This anchor then influences all subsequent discussions or negotiations. Picture this: you're negotiating a price. If you're the first to suggest a figure, that number sets the tone for the rest of the negotiation. It's like planting a flag on a hilltop. Everything that follows is in reference to that flag, or in our case, the first figure you put forward. This is your anchor. The trick here is to start with a slightly higher offer than your desired outcome. This anchor then subtly influences the final settlement point in your favor. Remember, the power of the anchor lies in its ability to set the stage and guide the negotiation. Use it wisely, and you'll find that anchoring can subtly steer the outcome in your favor. Moving on, we have the Ben Franklin effect and mirroring and matching. These two strategies are all about building rapport and fostering a sense of connection. Let's start with the Ben Franklin effect. This psychological phenomenon is named after Benjamin Franklin, who famously noted that people tend to develop a liking for those they've done a favor for. How can you use this to your advantage in an argument? Well, consider asking your opponent for a small concession early on. This might seem counterintuitive, but it can create a sense of obligation that might subtly influence their later decisions. But remember, use this technique sparingly. We're aiming for persuasion, not manipulation. Now, let's turn our attention to mirroring and matching. This technique involves subtly mimicking the other person's body language and speech patterns. Think of it as a non-verbal form of empathy. When we mirror someone, we're showing them, on a subconscious level, that we're in tune with their emotions and perspective. This can create a sense of rapport and build trust, but don't overdo it. Too much mirroring can come off as insincere or even creepy. The key is subtlety. By employing the Ben Franklin effect, you can tap into your opponent's inherent desire to feel consistent and valued. By using mirroring and matching, you can show empathy and build a connection that can make the person more receptive to your viewpoint. Both these techniques are about more than just winning an argument. They're about building bridges, not walls. Because at the end of the day, the goal of any argument should be to reach an understanding and find a solution that works for everyone involved. So the next time you find yourself in a heated debate, remember these strategies. Ask for a small concession, mirror subtly, and watch as the dynamics of the argument shift in your favor. These techniques can help you build bridges, not walls. Lastly, we have yes and statements and open-ended questions. Two strategies that are not only powerful, but also promote positive and constructive dialogues. Let's dive into them, starting with yes and statements. This technique is a gem from the world of improvisation, and it's all about agreeing and adding. When you use yes and in an argument, you're essentially acknowledging your opponent's point of view, and then adding your own thoughts or perspectives. It's a way to build momentum and create a sense of shared logic. Imagine a situation where someone says, "We can't afford to implement this new strategy." Instead of outright disagreeing, you could respond with, "Yes, it's crucial to consider our budget, and perhaps we could look into cost-effective alternatives or reevaluate our current expenses." Notice how the yes and statement doesn't negate the other person's concern. Instead, it validates their point and introduces a new perspective, making them more likely to accept your final point. Now let's talk about open-ended questions. These are questions that can't be answered with a simple yes or no. They require a bit more thought and often lead to more in-depth discussions. By encouraging your opponent to elaborate on their views, you can reveal potential inconsistencies in their argument or discover common ground that may not have been apparent initially. For instance, if someone is strongly opposed to an idea you've proposed, instead of arguing directly, you might ask, "Can you help me understand your concerns about this idea?" This question not only shows respect for their viewpoint, but also opens up an opportunity for further discussion. To sum it up, yes, and statements and open-ended questions are tools that can help you navigate an argument more effectively. They encourage collaboration, foster understanding, and can often lead to more productive outcomes. Remember, the goal isn't just to win an argument, but to reach a resolution that respects all viewpoints involved. So next time you find yourself in a heated debate, try using these techniques. You might be surprised at how these techniques can turn the tide in your favor. So, we've covered 8 psychological tricks to master the art of winning arguments. Let's do a quick recap. First, we talked about the confirmation bias and the importance of being aware of our natural tendency to gravitate towards information that confirms our existing beliefs. Then, we emphasized the need to understand the other side's perspective, rather than just proving them wrong. We moved on to the power of framing, which is all about presenting your argument in a way that resonates with your opponent's values. We also discussed anchoring and its influence on negotiation outcomes. Next, we touched on the Ben Franklin effect and the subtle art of mirroring and matching. We highlighted the power of starting with yes and statements, and the importance of asking open-ended questions to reveal inconsistencies or opportunities. Each trick holds its unique power and potential. By understanding the psychology at play and strategically using these tactics, you can navigate disagreements more skillfully. Remember, argumentation is an art. With these tricks up your sleeve, you're well on your way to becoming a master. And if you like this video, do not forget to subscribe and follow the Psychology and Physical Training channel for more videos. Thank you for watching.